Hey, what's up guys, Goatboy here. Today I have a deck profile for you for HeavyMetaldramon. So I just recently took this to locals. I ended up placing 4th, which wasn't too bad, especially because I did play pretty much against meta decks the whole night. But besides about how well I did, this deck profile is kind of going to show how a little support can go a long way for a deck that has been low tier for pretty much as long as it's been introduced. It's got some cards drip fed every once in a while, but I think the support really makes it a deck that I think you actually could be scared of and not just think it's a joke. So let's go into the deck profile itself. For the eggs, we are running 4 copies of the Yamon from EX11. This one has a start of main phase. This Digimon may digivolve into a Dark Dragon or Evil Dragon trait in the trash for the cost reduced by 1. And if you digivolve from this effect, trash 2 cards in your hand. Now, the egg that you ran before the EX7 Yamon was not a bad egg at all, because it still allowed you to attack and evo from the trash. But this is just such a better start, since you have a lot more cards in this deck that can trash as soon as your main phase starts, before you even proc this in the first place. So I just think this is a mandatory 4 of, and I don't think you run any less than that. So those are eggs. Next we'll go over the level 3s. Let's start off with the GOAT, the Intmon from EX11. Starting your main phase, trash 1 card in your hand, then gain 1 memory with an inheritable of +2. The Intmon start of main here, these are 2 separate sentences, so that even if you don't have any cards in your hand, you gain a memory. So as long as you trash the card with the Tamer, the new Tamer, you will always gain a memory regardless of your hand size. So having this card out in multiples or even on the start of your turn is very good, since if you promote like this, you could start of main, trash a level 4, gain a memory, and then evo from trash for 1. So you pretty much are evoing for free, basically. That setup is very good, and I use that basically all night, but you run 4 copies of this card for sure. No questions. Next, I run 2 of the Intmon from EX7. This is the cost reducer with the same inheritable. Most of the cards will have this inheritable in the lower end. We'll talk about those a little bit later. But the cost reduce is really nice, since you can do the same play as if you did the EX11 Intmon, but this one just allows you to do it without having to gain a memory. You can just promote and then evo for free, but also just evoing for 1 is nice. You don't want to see it a lot because you want to see your other cards more, but this card is still very good. So we still run it in 2 copies for that reason. For the next one, we run 3 copies of the Immon from BT20. This card looks at the top 3. It grabs an Evil, Dark Dragon, and Evil Dragon trait, and then 1 Yuki, and then puts the rest to the bottom of the deck. You may think, oh, why would you still run the Searcher if you want less cards in your hand? In the beginning of the game, and at some points, you kind of want to grab more cards. And this being able to grab 2 is nice, since your Yukis are very important for your game plan now, more than they have ever been. So it's still good to have this with the same heritable of +2k on your turn. Then to round out the rookies, I only run 2 of this Guilmon, since you already trashed so many cards in your hand. You don't really need the trash effect from this as often. However, in the start of the game, this is very nice, because I've been able to put either a level 4 in trash, a Tamer in trash. It's just pretty solid. The inheritable to delete a level 3 or lower comes up sometimes, mostly when you're fighting against the Floodgate rookies is really when you use it, but it's still good to have. I can definitely see you changing the amount of this Intmon you play. You could probably go a 3-2 on this or a 3-2 on this. It really just depends on how consistently you think you're going to trash cards from your hand. So those are our level 3s. We run 4 of them, or not 4, sorry, we run 11 of those. Going on to our 4s, let's talk about the new Punkmon. This card is insanely good, comboed with the new Yugi. When attacking, by trashing 2 cards in your hand, or not by, trash 2 cards in your hand, then you may digivolve into the trait from trash with the cost reduced by 2. So you get to go into your level 5s for 1 memory, which is something the deck has been missing, since you pretty much had to pay full cost for all of your evolutions. This being able to go for 2 less is insanely good, Very huge, super important for the deck. 4 copies, just you're not going to run less than 4. It's just that good. Next, we run 3 of the Punkmon from BT20. This one trashes 1 card in your hand and then gives something blocker and retail. And then gives plus 2k for the inheritable, so does the other one. This one's not as good to go into. It does allow you to trash cards in your hand, so it's kind of why I would run this. Some people run the Punkmon from EX11. I don't really think playing from the hand is necessarily as good, since this deck trashes a lot more now. You're going to be putting them in the trash from your effects. Like, you're basically going to have no cards in hand most of the game, barring depending on how your line goes. But this is still good to have. This, I didn't mention these on some of them, but you can Evo for 3 if you want to on these, especially for this card and this card. You can Evo for 3 if you want, since it's over a purple or a red. And then the level 3s minus the Guilmon are the same way, where you can Evo for 1 if you really wanted to. So you can use that to choke. And I think that is still nice to have regardless. So those, and then we have one more level 4 to talk about, that being the Growlmon from BT24. On play when Digivolving, if you have 4 or less cards in your hand, you may play a Tamer from your trash without paying the cost. That's 4 or less, and is purple, I believe. Yes. This does not have a 1 or fewer Tamer stipulation like the EX7 one does, and since you're trashing so many cards, you'll be able to play Yukis very consistently with this. The inheritable is also just a delete a level 3 or lower. I've never really had this and the Guilmon. I've never had like both of these proc at the same time really when I've been attacking, because half the time when I'm going into something, the inheritable is going to miss the timing anyway. So it's not, the inheritable is okay, but playing Tamers is really nice. You can just keep playing Tamers even if you have like your full line of them. You can just keep playing them, which is really nice. That is all of our level 4s. We run, I believe that's going to be 10. 4, 3, and 3. Yep, that's going to be 10. Going on to our level 5s, we run 4 of the new Loudmon from EX11. On play when Digivolving, trash 2 cards in your hand, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon, which is much or less DP, as one of your Evil Dragon or Dark Dragon trait Digimon. So you can play this off of the level 6s and delete something with as much DP as the 6. And you could be at like 17 to like 21k at some times. So this, you can pretty much delete most things in the game if they don't have any DP buffs. Also, all turns, while you have 4 less cards in your hand, all of your traded Digimon gain Scapegoat. Very good protection that the deck really didn't have. Sadly, there is no protection against being sent to the hand or deck, but there's a lot of deletion effects going on right now, so this being the way it is not too bad. With the inheritable, your turn, if you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand, all of your traded Digimon gain security attack +1. I thought this only included the main stack. This includes everything on the board that has the trait. So if you have a level, let's see, I believe if you have a level 4, because some of our level 4s are Dark Dragons or Evil Dragons, this Growlmon's checks 2 security, which is super cool, honestly. I didn't realize that was even like a game I think you could do, but it's really that good. So we run 4 of this for that reason, the inheritable and for the giving the Scapegoat. Next, we run 2 of the Loudmons from BT20. This one trashes 2 cards in your hand, then one of your Digimon gains 4k plus raid and retail. Not raid and retail, raid and piercing. Very good combination of keywords. The DP buff is nice. I do see the other Loudmon from EX7 be played because it deletes a 7k or less, which is not bad. That's most level 5s and below. But I kind of like the buffing a little more. This could also be replaced with the Regulusmon from EX10, because that card is also insanely good for this deck because it's traded and has rush and blocker, so you can play it. But I'm just running these for right now because I know I like this card for sure, with the same inheritable as the other Loudmon. So more security attacks, more damage, more fun stuff. Then we play 2 War Growlmons. These are our final level 5s. I might bump this up to 3 because this card's really cool. There have been plenty of times where I've had no cards in hand and had nothing to do during my turn, so I just go, oh, no cards. You can play this from the trash for the cost reduced by 2. So you play this for 5 memory, which is not too bad. It also sets up an ace target if you have the ace in your hand. On play, when Digivolving, delete a level 4 or lower, and then an inheritable is on deletion. You may play a level 4 or lower Dark Dragon or Evil Dragon trait from your trash without paying your cost. Not an effect that comes up very often. However, it is nice to play out some of your level 4s, which have on plays to trash cards and can gain blocker, or you can play your Tamers out, which could activate the emblem and Evo from hand or trash. So this card is really nice for that reason. It also allows us for one of our level 6s to Evo on top of this, or any of them, for example, but we'll talk about that later. So we run 8 level 5s. Going on to our level 6s, we have the GOAT, the new HeavyMetaldramon. HeavyMetaldramon effect is on play, when Digivolving / end of attack, trash 2 cards in your hand, then delete one of your opponent's unsuspended. So if they have a blocker, you could just get to delete that. Then you may play a level 5 or lower Evil Dark Dragon or Evil Dragon trait from your trash without paying the cost. This being level 5 or lower is super nice since you don't have to worry about DP like the Ace does. And then this is not once per turn either. So you could go, I'll show you the combo at the end of the video, but you can like swing all the way with this card and go from the 4 to here. And you can, when Digivolving, play something out, and then end of attack, do the same thing and delete an unsuspended. So you can delete a lot of Digimon with this card, which is really nice. And then the alterns effect is when you have 4 less cards in your hand, when any of your traded Digimon will leave the battle area, you may trash your opponent, or you trash your opponent's top security. It's not, I don't think it's a may, I think you just do it anyway. Yeah, it's just like trash your top security. This, I really wish it was a protection, and it was, if it was more than once per turn, this card would be kind of sick for the alterns. However, it is a rare, so that's probably my guess as to why it doesn't have any more, it doesn't have actual protection. But if this just said, if it would leave the battle area, trash your opponent's top security, and that doesn't leave, that would also be really sick as a once per turn effect, since it would allow there to be some protection against bouncing. But I'll take what it is. This card is still insanely good for what it does. 4 copies of it for sure. Next, we have 2 copies of the HeavyMetaldramon Ace from BT20. On play, when Digivolving, trash cards until you have 4 left. Then you may play an 8k or less. For every card trash, remove, I believe it's 1k or 2k DP. Remove 2k from this effect. Beforehand, this was kind of something that you had to worry about. Nowadays, you don't. Since you have so little cards in your hand, you could literally just hard play this, play something from the trash, and then get a bunch of other effects. And then it has an all turns. All of your traded Digimon gain rush, blocker, and plus 2k. So if you have the Yuki out that allows them to swing end of turn, this card is insanely good for that combo, since you could swing with it. And if you have the new Yuki, you can just straight up go into a 5, swing, go into a 6, just by hard playing this guy. And it being in your hand is such a trump card. Even it being in the trash is a trump card too, since it's most of the time where it's going to go based on this meta. This card's really good. I had the other Heavy Metal from EX11, and this one is just automatically better. And it evils for 3, so you can evo for cheaper. So we run 2 of those bad boys. And then we have the last like functional level 6 of the deck. It is the Digimon from BT24. It has blocker, then on play, when Digivolving, on deletion, delete all of your opponent's lowest level. So white decks with no level kind of fuck you up. The tokens don't get deleted because some of them don't have levels. But this card does have the effect to, in the trash, if you have 4 less cards in your hand at the end of your turn, one of your Digimon can Digivolve into this from the trash. So you could easily have either a Work Realmon on the field, or even the Loudmon that gives DP, or pretty much any of their level 5s. And then end of turn, you go, oh, I have something in the trash. I have this in the trash. I'm just going to Evo for free. Delete all its lowest level, and you have a blocker that is going to swing for 2 checks because of the inheritable at the bottom. And you don't have to trash cards doing this. So a lot of times I would end my turn with 0 cards in my hand, Evo into this, draw a card from Digivolving, and it is usually a level 3. I got very lucky for that reason, but that doesn't always happen. But yeah, this Digimon is actually really cool. I didn't understand why people ran it, but now I totally get it, because this card is just very, very cool. Its effect is really nice. But those are the other like functional level 6s that we'll be evolving into. But it's not the last one, because we will end that off all the Digimon with 3 Nidhogg from BT7. You can evo into this. You can absolutely do that. But you only delete a level 4 or lower by trashing a card in your hand. So it's whatever. The main effect is when this card is trashed from your hand by effects, you gain a memory. So this is a way to gain an insane amount of memory with all of your Digimon, Tamers, effects. Just being able to trash this card is super nice, and half the time I use my Yuki to grab this from the trash so I can immediately start with 1 more memory than my opponent actually gave me. So this card being at 3 is pretty nice. You could cut it down to 2, and I feel like you'd still see it pretty often, but I like having it as sort of a... You could describe it as like the memory options, where you can gain 1 memory if it's hit in security, or just randomly you can gain a memory out of nowhere. So it's pretty nice because you're doing what the deck wants to do, so it's really not that, oh no, I trashed it, who cares. So those are 3 copies of the Nidhogg, and then those are all of our Digimon. We'll go to the options next, because the options are super quick. Right now I've got 3 copies of the unique emblem. This one reveals the top 3, adds a evil Dark Dragon, Evil Dragon, and then 1 Liberator trait, and then puts the rest at the bottom. Goes into the battle area, and then its delay is when any of your Yukis are played. One of your Digimon may Digivolve into the trait from the trash or hand with a cost reduced by 3. I'm sorry, it's a Liberator trait. You can evolve into a Liberator trait, so you don't get to go into your other stuff that isn't Liberator. However, this saying from hand or trash is really, really insane. I thought it was only just from hand, but it's from trash as well. So thank you, John Bandai, for printing this that way and allowing us to do that. In a new version of this deck, I'll probably bump this up to 4, since seeing it consistently is kind of nice. Just because you'll be playing Yukis pretty often, and evoing from the trash is nice. So I run 3 of it right now, but I'm definitely going to try bumping this up to 4 when they come in the mail, because I haven't seen them yet. Going on to the Tamers, let's talk about the GOAT herself, the Yuki from EX11. Start of your main phase / on play, trash a card in your hand and gain 1 memory. This is a by trashing, so you have to have a card to trash to gain a memory, which is annoying, but it's not really the end of the world. All turns, when any of your traded Digimon are attacking, I believe, if you have 4 last cards in your hand, you may Digivolve from the trash for the cost reduced by 1. Thank the Lord, this deck can evolve for the cost reduced. Having this card is just, it's insane. This card is so insanely good. And then end of all turns, which is cool, at end of both of yours and your opponent's turn, you may suspend her if you have 4 or fewer cards in hand to add something from the trash. Another thing that this deck was missing was getting stuff from the trash. So this allows you to do just that. You can grab a level 3 from the trash. Like I said, you can grab the Nidhoggmon if you really wanted to, but mostly I grab a level 3 so that I can be prepared for the next turn if my stack ends up dying. But this card is a mandatory 4 of. You need to run this at 4 copies. No discussion. It's just that insanely good for the deck. For the EX7, no, it's EX7. This is the BT20 Yuki. This is our memory setter. End of your turn, if you have 4 or fewer cards in your hand, one of your traded Digimon may attack a player, I believe. Yeah, may attack a player. So that's why the cards give raid, so that you can use this to swing into a Digimon as well. But this being a memory setter is nice, since you don't want to be choked to 1 that often. If you set yourself to 3 and then have one of these lovely ladies out, and then, for example, promote this Intmon, you can start at 3, promote, start of main, trash, go to 4, trash from here, go to 5, and it's a Nidhogg, you can go to 6. So you can gain so much memory from this card. It's like, that combination is super nice for that reason, but this just allowing you to swing at the end of turn also helps for being able to use the rush heavy metal. So just having that for that reason is it's nice. I like it. We just run 2 of them though, because you don't really want to see more than 1, since it doesn't really do that much besides having that effect. And since you can play it from the trash, you can just keep playing it over and over again. And then this one might be changed, but I'm running 1 EX7 Yuki. Start of your main phase, gain 1 memory if your opponent has a Digimon. Then main, if you have 4 less cards in your hand, you can suspend her to Evo from the trash for the cost. I really wish this just said for the cost reduced. They should have started doing it, but I can see why they didn't want this card to be, or this deck to be super, like, I guess broken / efficient. I don't know what the devs were thinking. I'm not a card game designer. But this card's just nice to have as a one of, since sometimes you don't want to attack the Digivolve, sometimes you just want to Digivolve in general. So this is just kind of a good, nice tech piece to have, but just at 1, because it doesn't do really much besides that, and you want to see your other Yukis instead. So let's talk about that combo I was stating earlier. So this will be our hand, and this is the setup that we have. We can promote start of main, promote, and then start of main effects are going to happen. We will trash from the, I guess you can trash from the Yuki first. You'll trash here, you'll gain a memory, and then you may trash here, and then you'll just gain 1 altogether. The Yaman will allow you to Digivolve for 1, and then you'll trash cards in your hand. That will most likely end up being one of these guys. You probably have one of these guys in the trash. So then you'll swing at security, and then you get to trash 2 cards in your hand. That card will probably end up being the new Heavy Metal as well. And when attacking, you'll Digivolve for the cost reduced by 2. So this will be for 1 into Loudmon. Loudmon will do its effect, it'll trash cards, and then you will delete something with as much DP. And at that point, it's going to be 11k, which is most level 6s, but not all of them. And then we do the Yuki effect, which we don't have to actually suspend for, and then we Digivolve for 3 into the Heavy Metal. We'll trash 2 cards, delete a Digimon, and then play out another level 5 from the trash. This can delete something. You can play this guy out instead to gain more DP on this body, so you can swing more, and you'll be swinging for 2 checks. And then end of attack, you'll do the same effect. That could literally be anything. You could play this out to play a Yuki from trash. You could play pretty much anything else. Whatever you want to play, in all honesty, that you have in your trash, you could use. And then end of all turns, you could have a HeavyMetaldramon sitting in the trash that can Evo over this if you really want. Or you could have it so that you all have Scapegoat and just keep this in the trash for later. You could play out any other level 5 just so HeavyMetaldramon can go on the field, and it'll delete all lowest level. So you'll delete 2 unsuspended with this effect, and then you'll delete all lowest level from here, and then you may delete another thing from however many Loudmon you put afterwards. So that's like the main combo that you use to kind of get started, and everything will have Scapegoat at that point, because you'll more than likely have no cards in hand. And if you need a rookie, just suspend Yuki at the end of your turn, grab this back, and that goes back in your hand. But that is really what you want to be doing most of the time. But yeah, that is my deck profile for HeavyMetaldramon. I think that this deck is actually kind of slept on, and it is a lot better than people think it is. They just think it's that same trash deck that it was in EX7/BT20. But I think it's an actual, not a meta threat, and you're not going to see this performing at the like high tables of like Nats or regionals, for example, but this could pretty consistently, I think, win your locals and maybe even place like top 64 or something at a regional or something, or like a sport regional, for example. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more. There will be some gameplay of this deck on the channel here in the next couple days. So hopefully look forward to that, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.